Milwaukee Brewers versus Los Angeles Dodgers, the 2025 National League Championship Series, NLCS, continues in Los Angeles as the Milwaukee Brewers look to claw their way back against the surging Los Angeles Dodgers. With the Dodgers holding a commanding 2-0 series lead, this pivotal Game 3 at Dodger Stadium could define the Brewers' postseason fate. The two clubs represent contrasting narratives. Milwaukee, a well-rounded Central Division champion built on consistency and pitching depth, versus Los Angeles, a powerhouse led by superstar firepower and elite frontline pitching. The Dodgers' ability to neutralize Milwaukee's offense in the first two games has put them in control, while the Brewers seek answers before the series slips away. At 97-65, the Brewers enter the postseason as the National League Central champions, finishing ahead of the Cubs and Reds in a tightly contested race. Meanwhile, the Dodgers, at 93-69, once again captured the National League West crown, pulling away late in the season with a 5-game winning streak and a strong 53-29 record at home. The stakes are high. Los Angeles is seeking another World Series berth, while Milwaukee aims to prove it can hang with baseball's elite. The Dodgers will hand the ball to right-hander Tyler Glasnow, who has been exceptional this postseason. Glasnow enters with a 1.17 whip, and his stuff has been electric, striking out 10 batters over 7 innings in his last outing without allowing a run. His dominance, featuring a sharp slider and high-spin fastball, has been instrumental in Los Angeles' October success. The Brewers have yet to announce their starter, leaving speculation open that they might opt for a bullpen game or a late decision based on matchups. Milwaukee's uncertainty on the mound contrasts sharply with the stability of the Dodgers' rotation. Glasnow's ability to attack the strike zone early and generate swing-and-miss opportunities will challenge a Brewers lineup that struggled in Games 1 and 2, scoring just 2 total runs. If the Brewers counter with a right-hander such as Freddie Peralta, it could set up an intriguing duel between power arms. Peralta, Milwaukee's ace, finished the regular season 17-7 with a 2.70 ERA and 204 strikeouts, ranking among the league's top pitchers in strikeout rate and efficiency. His performance has been consistent all year, giving Milwaukee a chance every 5th day. However, with him likely unavailable until Game 4, Milwaukee's pitching depth will be tested against the most potent offense in the National League. Offensively, both teams boast stars capable of changing the game with one swing. For Milwaukee, Christian Yelich remains the offensive anchor. The veteran outfielder hit .264 with 29 home runs and 103 RBIs, reasserting himself as a dependable middle-of-the-order force. Yelich's balance of power and patience will be vital against Glasnow's high-velocity attack. Complementing him is Sal Frelick, whose .288 average and .351 on-base percentage provide steady contact and base-running pressure. The Brewers thrive when Frelick sets the table and Yelich drives in runs, a combination that will be crucial in a hostile environment like Dodger Stadium. The Dodgers lineup, on the other hand, is a star-studded force headlined by Shohei Ohtani and Freddie Freeman. Ohtani, in his first postseason with Los Angeles, continues to be the ultimate two-way superstar, finishing the regular season with 58 home runs, 282 average, and 102 RBIs. His presence alone alters opposing game plans, forcing pitchers into mistakes. Freeman remains one of the most consistent hitters in baseball, hitting .295 with a .367 OBP and .502 slugging percentage. The Ohtani-Freeman tandem anchors an offense that led the National League in runs scored, 853, and on-base percentage, 341. With such firepower, even a brief lapse from Milwaukee's pitchers could result in a decisive rally. The Dodgers enter Game 3 riding a wave of confidence. Winners of 5 straight, including the first 2 games of this series, 2-1 and 5-1, they've displayed balanced dominance, elite pitching combined with timely hitting. Ohtani homered in Game 2, while the bullpen shut down Milwaukee's late-inning hopes. Los Angeles's lineup depth continues to be a major advantage, with production coming from multiple spots in the order. Milwaukee, on the other hand, has struggled to maintain its offensive rhythm. After a 6-0 win against the Cubs to close the regular season, the Brewers' bats have gone cold, managing just 2 runs across their last 2 games against LA. They need more from hitters beyond Yelich and Frelick, particularly the middle lineup contributors who were effective all season but quiet lately. Injury issues haven't helped. The Brewers are without starters Brandon Woodruff and Logan Henderson, both on the injured list until at least late October, along with center fielder Garrett Mitchell and reliever Ramon Rodriguez, sidelined until February. The absence of Woodruff especially has left a void in the rotation that no one has quite filled. For the Dodgers, their injury report also lists notable absences: Michael Kopech, Kirby Yates, and Tanner Scott, 3 key bullpen arms, but their depth has absorbed those losses effectively. The Brewers topped the National League Central with a 97-65 record, securing the division by 5 games over the Cubs. Their success stemmed from elite pitching, 3.36 team ERA, and a knack for winning close games. However, the Dodgers' combination of home dominance and playoff experience makes them formidable. Los Angeles led the West by a comfortable margin, finishing ahead of San Diego and San Francisco while hitting their stride late in September. With the Dodgers leading the NLCS 2-0, the Brewers are in a must-win scenario. Losing Game 3 would put them 1 step from elimination and force them to win 4 straight against a team that has lost only twice in its last 10 games. Conversely, a Dodgers victory would push them to within 1 game of another World Series appearance, potentially setting up a marquee showdown with the American League's best. Injuries continue to play a decisive role in this matchup. Milwaukee's rotation is stretched thin without Woodruff, a proven postseason performer, and Henderson, their young right-hander who impressed during the regular season. The bullpen, anchored by J.B. Bukauskas and a resilient relief corps, must shoulder a heavier load, possibly requiring multiple innings from swingmen and long relievers. For the Dodgers, the absences of Kopech, Yates, and Scott have forced manager Dave Roberts to rely more heavily on Kyle Hurt and Nick Frasso, both showing poise under pressure. Despite the attrition, Los Angeles's bullpen has allowed just 2 runs over its last 5 postseason games, a testament to its adaptability and the depth of talent the team still possesses to handle high-pressure situations effectively. For Milwaukee, the key X factor is Christian Yelich's bat. When Yelich finds his rhythm, the Brewers' offense gains instant credibility. His ability to drive in runs against elite pitching is paramount. Another factor is the Brewers' bullpen. If the unannounced starter can keep the game close through 5 innings, Milwaukee's relievers must hold the line against the deepest lineup in baseball. Finally, Sal Frelick's presence at the top of the order could ignite the offense if he can get on base early and pressure the Dodgers' defense, creating more scoring opportunities and forcing pitching adjustments. For Los Angeles, the X factors begin with Tyler Glasnow's command. If he dominates early, the Brewers' chances diminish quickly, forcing them to chase the game and potentially make uncharacteristic mistakes. Meanwhile, Shohei Ohtani's 2-way impact continues to shape every moment of this series. Even when not pitching, his bat, presence in the clubhouse, and leadership fuel the Dodgers' momentum. Lastly, Freddie Freeman's consistency, his ability to produce quality at-bats and drive in key runs, keeps the Dodgers' offense balanced, persistent, and difficult to contain. Analytics and momentum both lean heavily toward the Dodgers. With a 60.2% win probability, Los Angeles is favored to extend its NLCS lead behind Glasnow's dominant form and a lineup firing on all cylinders, featuring a blend of power, consistency, and clutch hitting. The Brewers, sitting at 39.8%, face long odds, but remain a dangerous opponent whenever their pitching clicks, particularly if their starters can navigate the early innings without surrendering big swings. Expect a competitive start if Milwaukee can find a stable arm for the opening frames, but over the course of 9 innings, the Dodgers' offensive depth, veteran experience, and home field advantage at Dodger Stadium should prove decisive, giving them multiple avenues to apply pressure and force mistakes in high-leverage situations. Los Angeles appears poised to take a commanding 3-0 series lead, driven by Glasnow's pinpoint precision on the mound and the relentless bats of Ohtani and Freeman, who have consistently delivered in high-leverage situations. However, should Yelich rediscover his MVP-caliber swing and Milwaukee's bullpen tighten its performance, this matchup could swing dramatically, turning momentum in the Brewers' favor. The Dodgers' mix of star power, postseason experience, and composure under pressure gives them the clear edge, but October baseball is never predictable, and the Brewers, fueled by desperation and the hunger of a team fighting to extend their season, are capable of creating chaos and keeping the series alive through timely hitting, strategic pitching changes, and clutch defensive plays. After analyzing both teams, my pick for this match is Los Angeles Dodgers winner. Drop your thoughts and predictions in the comments box. Toronto Blue Jays versus Seattle Mariners. The postseason tension tightens in Seattle as the Toronto Blue Jays and Seattle Mariners prepare for a pivotal Game 4 at T-Mobile Park. The Mariners, holding a commanding 2-0 series lead, stand just one win away from advancing, while the Blue Jays fight to extend their season and keep their playoff hopes alive. Toronto finished the regular season with a 94-68 record, riding a strong 40-41 away performance and claiming a share of the American League East lead with New York. The Mariners, meanwhile, closed the season at 90-72, securing second place in the AL West and an enviable 51-30 home record. This matchup between two playoff-tested rosters promises a classic October duel, one built around elite pitching, powerful bats, and the grit that defines postseason baseball. The storylines surrounding this matchup are rich with contrast. Toronto leans on a veteran-laden roster, headlined by experienced arms and steady middle-order hitters, while Seattle thrives on youthful energy, a balanced rotation, and a crowd that has turned T-Mobile Park into one of baseball's toughest venues. With Max Scherzer set to take the mound for the Blue Jays and Luis Castillo countering for the Mariners, fans are treated to a dream pitching matchup, an accomplished future Hall of Famer against one of the American League's premier power pitchers. In a series already defined by offense, the Game 4 pitching duel brings a change in tone. Max Scherzer, Toronto's seasoned ace, makes his long-anticipated postseason start. At 40 years old, Scherzer's experience is unrivaled, his reputation forged through dominance, durability, and an insatiable competitive edge. While his 2025 regular season numbers were modest by his lofty standards, Scherzer remains the type of pitcher who can command a game's pace, attacking hitters with pinpoint fastballs and a biting slider. The Blue Jays hope his postseason pedigree steadies a pitching staff that's allowed 26 runs over the first 3 games of the series. Opposing him is Seattle's Luis Castillo, who already made an emphatic statement earlier in the series. Castillo enters Game 4 with a sparkling 1-0 postseason record, 0.00 ERA, and 0.83 WHIP over 6 innings of one-run ball in his last outing. The right-hander thrives at home, where his electric fastball and devastating changeup often overwhelm opposing hitters. Over the regular season, Castillo's consistency anchored Seattle's staff and set the tone for a young rotation that includes emerging star Bryan Woo, who led the team in ERA 2.94, wins 15, and strikeouts 198. The pitching contrast couldn't be sharper. Scherzer's cerebral approach and mechanical precision face off against Castillo's raw velocity and confidence in inducing weak contact. For Toronto, success depends on Scherzer silencing Seattle's red-hot offense early. For Seattle, Castillo's ability to navigate Toronto's power hitters without leaving pitches over the plate could determine whether this series ends in 4 or extends back north. Few matchups showcase as many offensive weapons as this one. Toronto's lineup is spearheaded by George Springer and Bo Bichette, two cornerstones who define the Blue Jays' offensive identity. Springer, the club's leadoff spark plug, blasted 32 home runs with a .309 average and 94 RBI, providing both power and postseason experience. Bichette, meanwhile, remains the team's most consistent hitter, batting .311 with a .357 OBP and .483 slugging percentage. His ability to hit to all fields and produce in clutch moments has been the backbone of Toronto's lineup all year. On the opposite side, Seattle counters with their own pair of sluggers, Cal Raleigh and Julio Rodriguez, who embody the Mariners' blend of power and youth. Raleigh's season was nothing short of historic. The switch-hitting catcher launched 60 home runs and drove in 125 RBI, cementing his status as one of the game's premier power threats. Rodriguez, though streaky, remains Seattle's offensive engine. His .267 average, .324 OBP, and .474 slugging percentage underscore his dynamic skill set, capable of changing games with a single swing or a burst of speed on the bases. While Toronto's offense thrives on disciplined at-bats and gap-to-gap hitting, Seattle's power surge gives them the advantage in slugging and situational hitting. In the postseason, where one swing can shift momentum, the Mariners' ability to capitalize on fastballs in hitters' counts has been decisive. Momentum defines October baseball, and the recent form of these two clubs tells the story of why Seattle holds the upper hand. The Mariners have won 4 of their last 5 games, including a pair of convincing victories over Toronto to open the series, 10-3 and 3-1. Even in their lone recent loss, a 9-3 defeat to Detroit to close the regular season, they showcased offensive depth and resilience. Their home field dominance, reflected in that 51-30 record, continues to be a factor. The raucous Seattle crowd amplifies every strikeout, every long fly ball, and every big defensive play. Toronto, on the other hand, stumbled into the postseason before reigniting against New York to close the year. They've won 2 of their last 5 games, punctuated by inconsistent pitching and occasional defensive lapses. The Blue Jays' blowout victory in Game 3, 13-4, was a reminder of their offensive potential when their lineup clicks, but the question remains whether that form can be sustained against Castillo and Seattle's bullpen. Both teams enter with clear statistical strengths. Toronto's team average of .285 and league-leading .333 OBP demonstrate their disciplined hitting, while their 1.27 WHIP and 1,430 strikeouts point to pitching depth that hasn't yet translated into postseason dominance. Seattle's .244 average and 238 home runs tell a story of a team built around power and timely hitting, with their 3.87 ERA underscoring a solid rotation. This series has major postseason implications. The Mariners, having finished second in the AL West behind Houston, are playing with confidence and cohesion, their 90-72 record reflecting balance across pitching and offense. A win in Game 4 would send them to the next round, marking one of the franchise's most successful runs in years. The Blue Jays, tied with New York at the top of the AL East with identical 94-68 records, enter as one of the American League's most talented rosters, but face elimination pressure. Their 4-game winning streak to close the regular season feels distant now, but Toronto has shown time and again that they can rebound when pushed to the brink. With both clubs carrying postseason experience and deep rosters, this matchup may ultimately define each team's trajectory for the next few years. For Seattle, a series win validates their rebuild and young core. For Toronto, it's about legacy, turning potential into playoff success before their championship window narrows. Injuries loom large in this contest. Toronto is without key players Ty France, Jose Barrios, Bo Bichette, Nick Sandlin, and Bowden Francis, all listed on the injury report with expected returns around late October. The temporary loss of Bichette, in particular, leaves a glaring hole in both the lineup and clubhouse leadership. Barrios' absence weakens the rotation behind Scherzer and Gausman, forcing the bullpen to carry heavier innings. Seattle's injury list is shorter, but still notable. Gregory Santos, Jackson Kowar, and Trent Thornton are out, all bullpen arms whose absence tests the Mariners' late-game depth. Utility infielder Ryan Bliss remains sidelined until February, thinning their infield options, but not significantly affecting the current playoff roster. Toronto's bullpen remains anchored by Kevin Gausman, who posted a 3.59 ERA and 189 strikeouts, and Chris Bassett, the team's wins leader with 11. For Seattle, Brian Wu has become a breakout star, posting that 2.94 ERA with 15 wins and 198 strikeouts, providing stability and flexibility behind Castillo. Three elements could ultimately decide this Game 4 clash. First, Max Scherzer's command and efficiency will determine whether Toronto can control the game's tempo. If he can work deep into the game and limit Seattle's long ball threat, Toronto's bullpen might finally find relief. Second, Seattle's power hitting remains a game-breaking weapon, with Cal Raleigh and Julio Rodriguez both capable of clearing the fences at any moment. Early runs could demoralize the Blue Jays and energize the crowd. Lastly, defensive execution, often overlooked in October, will be critical. Both teams have suffered from miscues in recent outings. Whichever club maintains composure in the field will likely control the scoreboard. Statistical analysis and momentum favor Seattle heading into Game 4. The Mariners hold a 61.8% win probability, buoyed by home field advantage, a locked-in pitching staff, and a confident lineup. Toronto, with a 38.2% chance, faces the steep climb of battling both the Mariners and their own inconsistencies. Still, with Scherzer on the mound, the Blue Jays have the intangible of elite experience, a factor that analytics often underrate. Expect a tightly contested affair early, with both starters exchanging zeros through the first few frames. As the bullpens enter, Seattle's offensive depth and home field energy could tilt the balance. A key late-inning homer or defensive gem may prove decisive, potentially swinging momentum in an instant and leaving the trailing team scrambling for answers in the final outs. Seattle completes the sweep and advances, while Toronto exits the postseason, wondering what might have been. Another chapter in the unpredictable drama that defines October baseball. After analyzing both teams, my pick for this match is Seattle Mariners winner. Drop your thoughts and predictions in the comments box.